Welcome to Casey Cares, the voice of Kansas City nonprofits. We share the stories of local nonprofits and the individuals who drive them. At Casey Cares, we connect the nonprofit and business sectors to enhance the quality of life in Kansas City for both our residents and visitors. And from time to time, we bring you some fantastic nonprofits who are doing great work that Kansas Cityans can connect with. This Casey Care segment is brought to you by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, www.kaufman.org. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Cancer patients face an uphill battle in many ways, but one of the most overlooked challenges is medical financial toxicity, the overwhelming burden of treatment costs that can force families to choose between life-saving care and everyday necessities. At the heart of this mission is SabesWings, co-founded by former Kansas City Royals world champion pitcher Brett Saberhagen and his wife, Kandace. Born from their own personal journey, SabesWings emerged after the Saberhagens witnessed cancer patients drained by medical bills, lost in insurance gaps, and facing the unthinkable threat of bankruptcy, all while fighting for their lives. Determined to change this reality, they created SabesWings as a beacon of hope, providing vital financial relief and restoring dignity for patients who need it most. In this episode of Casey Cares, we're talking with Brett and Kandace and how their nonprofit SabesWings is lifting the weight of financial toxicity and empowering patients on their path to healing. Thanks for joining us. It's so great to have you with us.
Thank you. I think you spelt it out pretty well. We need to have you come and lay it all out on the line, what we exactly do, and that you hit it right on the head with everything that we've gone through personally. That's why we started SabesWings, but also what medical financial toxicity is. So thank you.
Most welcome. We're going to dive in. We want to hear your story. So everybody knows you, loves you from 1985. Everybody knows your name, all of that. Let's fast forward life after baseball. And when you all confronted cancer in a very personal way.
Yeah, it hit home. I had a nonprofit that was geared towards youth, and it was geared towards juvenile diabetes, autism, helping inner city kids go to baseball games, building some baseball fields. And after 2008, when the economy went south, I quit asking for financial help for the nonprofit. Fast forward to 2020, COVID hits. Kandace is diagnosed in 2019 with cancer for the third time. With that being said, the normal treatments that everybody does, the chemo and the radiation, didn't get rid of the cancer. So we had to find alternative medications, which we did, but it was costing $22,000 a month. So we saw it firsthand. During that period of time, Kandace came to me and said, I have an idea of maybe working the nonprofit in a different way. And by what she went through and what we saw firsthand, really, that's where SabesWings came from. So Sabes, my nickname, wings are those wings that lift people up. At one point in time during her treatments, she was on the bathroom floor. Or the shower floor, I should say, with a clump of hair in her hand and crying and too weak to get up. So taking the hair, getting rid of the hair, picking her up off the shower floor and really being her wings. So those wings of SabesWings kind of help those families out and about. But from our knowledge of seeing this and having the thought that people might have to choose a loved one's life over being able to help them and not do anything because it's so expensive to do some of these treatments. So I'll let my beautiful wife take it kind of from there.
You explained it beautifully, but I don't think we understood really the impact of how many people were affected by medical financial toxicity. There were other organizations that didn't even put a term to it. And so when we heard MFT, it's really in the industry, it's financial toxicity because it broadcast over all medicine. But for us, it wasn't really financial toxicity other than medical. So we just put the medical to it and said, we're going to carry this onward. And when I did do my deep dive, I didn't understand people were going bankrupt. 50% of patients go bankrupt after a second diagnosis. And those are
oh my gosh.
statistics. But you think you get through the first one and you're already dealing with the disease itself, and that's stressful enough. But then when you add in the financial burden, that just causes so much more havoc. And people forget that you're sick, so you have to take off of work, or your loved one has to take care of you and take off of work. There's so many different additives that fall into this scenario that people don't think about initially.
Kandace, would you be willing to share a little bit about your journey? Every cancer journey I know is a bit unique. So if you're willing to share a little bit about it so we understand in depth where you were coming from.
Sure. Definitely can explain the complexities of where I was when my youngest was 2 years old. I was just getting ready to wean him, and I noticed a lump, and I was diagnosed shortly thereafter with HER2 positive, which probably was a misdiagnosis all along, because got through that. We treated appropriately for what we thought was the disease, but then it came back 5 years into it, and it came back as triple negative. So I probably was always fighting triple negative breast cancer. Went through all of treatment for that, and I was in the medical industry, so it was really easy for me to get to the top providers. But Brett and I had met, and I had a clean bill of health, 5 years released from that second diagnosis, and we celebrated. We actually went on a trip. We went to Greece. It was beautiful. 2 months later, I was re-diagnosed. So at that point, it was triple negative again. That was 2019 or 2018, actually. In 2019 and 2020, I went through pretty much every single type of treatment possible with Brett by my side the entire time. The difference in that diagnosis was that COVID was happening, and I was in complete isolation. So we didn't get to see our children. We have a beautiful blended family of 6, Brett's 4 children and my 2. And we did not see them for 6 months. So that was really difficult for us. You're already dealing with the unknown of what's happening with a pandemic. And then on top of that, you have cancer. So nobody's writing a script for this because they'd have never approached it themselves. So complete isolation at home, and made it through. Hindsight is 2020, and probably looking back, it was most likely the best thing that happened, being in complete isolation. I was able to heal both emotionally and physically from a lot, and I think it only brought Brett and I closer.
Well, I know cancer patients and family members of cancer patients. How did you do that? I mean, how did you do that? What were the things that maybe other people would benefit from hearing from you?
Her being diagnosed for the 3rd time, she was just about ready to give up. She was like, "Okay, I'm done fighting against this cancer that keeps coming back." So, anytime that there's a cancer diagnosis, and we talk and see people on a daily basis, 365 days out of the year, we're dealing with people that are fighting cancer in one way, shape, or form. So with our nonprofit, it's not just breast cancer, it's any type of cancer that we help out. And we're around the country. I would say the majority of the people that we have been helping lately, it seems like the majority of them have been from Kansas City. We're getting the name out there after only 5 years of doing this. But having that diagnosis is stressful. And when she had it the 3rd go around, it's like, I don't want to bring you down and through this. She was breaking up with me, and it turned into a proposal the next day after she came in with her 3rd diagnosis, and said, "No, you won't be going through this alone, and we'll face whatever we have to head on." So it's stress. I think anybody that gets a cancer diagnosis and it's in the family, it's right off the get-go, it's the unknown. Can I survive? Will I survive? And then you throw in the equation, how are we going to take care of this? How am I going to get a scan? Because a lot of these insurance companies won't even pay for a scan to get the doctors the knowledge of what's going on in your body. So it's multiple things that we help out with these families. When we give them some guidance, we give them some help financially. And like I said, it doesn't matter what type of cancer it is. Easy way to find us is go to SabesWings.org. There's an application process that you need to fill out and go through. A lot of times we have some of the oncologists and some of the doctors that we work with, nurse navigators, that really will help us with navigating the start of a recipient, because they know them first and foremost, social workers. So we've done some stuff with the Gilda House in Kansas City, which they've been amazing. And if you come towards the west, where Colorado, California, where the nonprofit is based out of California, it's not the Gilda House anymore; it's Cancer Support. So. Yeah, it's amazing what so many people are doing around the country, but we found that this is something that we want to leave a legacy for, and really make a difference. We've trying to kind of go along the coattails of a lot of the problems that are going around the country right now with medical, financial toxicity, and people having the problems of expensive medical. So we've been working with some lobbyists. We're trying to see that we can create something strong, that nobody going through cancer or having medical issues have to struggle paying these costs. So I think the government is on the verge of something, but we want to push that as much as possible as well.
Yeah.
I kudos to you. I mean, coming through with this the third time, Kandace, I mean, you guys could have just said, okay, we're going to go live our life, not, gee, let's start a nonprofit. So, what was it that you just decided, the two of you have to do this?
I think it's in both of our nature. We've always been a very giving, caring, even separate entity, but when we came together, it was just that much more beautiful. It was really all of that time alone that I had in isolation that brought me to this, and thinking, what am I going to do next? How are we going to make an impact on others? And what legacy are we going to leave behind for our children? And what can we teach them in those values? So really, it started small thinking, never thought that it would expand to where it is now. From year 1 to year 2, we had applications increased by 300%. So that's when we knew that it was probably something that needed to be addressed much more on a broad span basis. But honestly, Ruth, it was sitting in my chair watching, chemo drip into my veins, thinking, what do we need to do now, and how quickly can we go? Because you never know when your time's up.
So yeah, and to piggyback on that, I had the platform, and I truly feel that God blessed me with the platform from baseball to do what we're doing now, to help so many others. And right now, we feel like we're this big boat that we help these families, and we keep putting the chewing gum, as Kandace would say, in all these different holes. But we really want to build a ship that actually you don't need any of that chewing gum to fix any of these holes, and that hopefully the government comes up with something that can help all these families, whether it be just medical or cancer that they're going through, and having a medical issue or financial issues for anything, and having to go bankrupt, having to mortgage their home, having their mortgage payments to be in default. There's so many things that we are helping out with, that we want that ship to be nice and sturdy, instead of, and again, the old story that I say, Ruth, is there's this little kid on the beach, and all these, I'm going to say, starfish are washed up on the beach, and the little kids going by one and throwing them back into the ocean. And an older gentleman walks up and he says, "You can't save them all." And the little kid grabs another one and says, "Nope," but he keeps throwing them in. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're helping family by family as needed, but there's a bigger mission out there. But I feel with the platform that I had with baseball, and God blessed me with, is really something to really focus on with all of these families out there. So we feel blessed to do this on a regular basis and help so many.
It's interesting, honestly, to see Brett, who he is now. I didn't know him when he played, obviously. But I look at his 21-year-old self when he first started with the Royals, and he was just a kid. I mean, we have two
Yeah.
21-year-olds right now who are 5 days apart. And I think about what they what they carry on their shoulders right now in comparison to what Brett carried. And he was a baby, and I don't think that Kansas City really got to see him fully grow up, and now he's this beautiful, beaming, giving, philanthropic individual who just really cares about making a difference. And that's what's been beautiful to see. I didn't even see that when I first met him. I knew he was caring and loving. I did not see all of this giving, and to see that maturity in my husband, and to be able to brag about him a little bit is something pretty beautiful and special to me.
Somehow I think it's mutual bragging, which is okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it's great because I've got a beautiful wife and a smart wife and somebody that really knows and is passionate about what she does, and I see it on a regular basis of her trying to help so many, and really I would say the backbone behind SabesWings. It really keeps she keeps us all together. It's a small crew that operate in the wings of SabesWings, and but it really is. She's the captain of this ship, and I feel blessed to have her by my side. I feel very lucky.
that's very sweet.
Well, we're talking to Brett and Kandace Saberhagen. They are SabesWings. Let's talk about the specific things that you all do. Once someone has applied and they're accepted, what are the things that you're able to do?
So they go through an application process first, which is on our website. We take care of, there's two really big components of SabesWings. It's household expenses or it's medical. And we go in and triage some of their greatest needs. So a patient may come to us and supply us with 13 bills. And by the way, we pay directly to the bill. We do not give a blanket check to the patient. We want to make sure that we're getting them out of the debt that is incurred and not something that, you never know where it goes. So
Right.
we take care of the actual bill. We triage those bills. So if their mortgage is $1,200, we're going to go ahead and take care of that for a segment of a few months. Or if they're up against a scan, we may take on both. We see a lot of missed scans, any type of PET scan or CT scan. For whatever reason, the insurance likes to decline those. And that's been our biggest issue. Here in Central Coast, California, we work very closely with what we've built called the UCLA SabesWings Tumor Board, and we go in and analyze a lot of different patients and why they're being denied certain care. And
Especially peer-to-peer too, when that happens.
And then we try to figure out what happens. And so in that process, as Brett was talking about, when the insurance declines a scan, it goes peer-to-peer. So the insurance is presenting a doctor who has never touched the patient, never talked to the patient, and is only reading their chart. Whereas they're going against the oncologist who sees the patient hands-on with the patient and is declaring exactly what the patient needs, yet is being told by an outside source that their patient doesn't need that. And so that sometimes goes 2 and 3 and 4 times through an audit process, and it doesn't get taken care of. And that's when we typically come in. It's around anywhere from $2,400 to $2,600 for that scan. That's what we see quite a bit here in the Central Coast. In Kansas City, gosh, it's really all of household. It's not all household expenses, but the vast majority of it is I can't take care of my home. I can't keep the roof over my head and the utilities on right now. Please take this stress off of me and do what you can as far as allowing that patient to breathe. And we see a lot of that there. Although KU Med sends us very valuable patients who need medical care too, we see a great deal of household expense in the Midwest.
Yeah, and again, when we get these people coming towards us for financial help, They're stressed. They want to keep their loved one alive. And
Of course.
when you're going through a cancer diagnosis, it's already stressful enough. And I mean, we see, a wide variety of different types of cancer in all ages, from, very young to very old. And it's sad. It's very emotional, and we supply other avenues as well, not just the financial support, but Kandace is on the phone quite a bit, talking with different recipients or different people, just in general, about what she's gone through, and the support that they might need. And there's different programs that SabesWings offers as well, and Kandace can talk a little bit about that. It's not just the financial needs of household bills and or medical bills that have occurred, but we've got a couple other programs that are near and dear to our hearts as well, and one is coming up.
Yeah, Wings of Hope is coming up. It's our Christmas give back. And there are so many programs out there that do a wonderful job with cancer patients during the holidays. The one thing that we noticed is that, and I'll just set the picture for you. You have a patient who's gone through chemotherapy, and they're coming back later at night after a 6-hour excursion there. And the way that they've explained it to us is the street is lit up in Christmas lights, and they get to their own home and they have nothing. Nothing's lit up. It's very dark, desiccated. You go in and you're sitting in your own misery. Really, you're sick, you don't feel well, and you have no spirit in you. And so what we do is we come in and we provide that spirit, those wings of hope. We gear it toward children. So if your child is experiencing a cancer diagnosis, or is a child of a parent who is experiencing a diagnosis, we ask that parent for a list of gifts. We buy those gifts, we wrap those gifts, and we hand deliver them. We actually have elves who dress up like elves and deliver these gifts. We do this nationwide. And it's really beautiful. We've heard back from Kansas City and Arizona and Ohio and California about how giving this was and how meaningful it was, because it just wasn't a blanket gift. It was something that they actually wanted, needed, and could use. So we have a limit of what we do for each child. It's $250 per child. I get to go in and buy all the gifts, and then all over the country, we have pockets of gift wrapping parties where volunteers come in and wrap these gifts with beautiful bows. We have a neighbor here in California who makes all these specialty bows just to make it look beautiful. So it brings in a lot of that spirit that's missing during this season.
Well, sign me up. I'll be an elf.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate it. We could use some elves in Kansas City.
We do.
I would love to be an elf.
All right.
You also have a program called the Rally Program.
Rally program.
Elf Ruth.
We do, Ruth. Thank you for mentioning that. The Rally program was actually created by one of our children. We asked him when I was going through my last diagnosis, what is it that you did not have or felt depleted from? And he said, you sent me to therapy, and I was with all these strangers, and I was asking to be as extremely vulnerable with them, and I did not feel comfortable. He was 14 at the time. We had a younger son as well. He said, I found comfort in my football team. I went to my coaches, I went to my team. And I said, okay, well, what would you like to do? He's actually now a senior at Montana State. I said, what would you like to do with SabesWings? And he said, I'd like to create my own program. And it was actually born in Kansas City. He created it right there while we were there. And what it does is it goes in and educates sports teams, sports affiliates of a child, high school principals, teachers, how to rally around a child and what to actually give them what they need. 9 times out of 10, you hear about somebody being diagnosed and they're like, oh gosh, what can we do for their family? Well, they bring casserole. They bring a dish of food.
Right.
Food. That's what you do. This is a little bit different. We're delivering a little bit more of support, and we hope that it sticks long term. So a good example of that is we had a kindergartner who was diagnosed. And she was so sweet. She was diagnosed at 5 in Texas and had to stay on vacation in Texas for 9 months while she was treated at Texas Children's. And she came back to go to school in California, and she was bald, and none of the children understood why. Nobody explained it to the class beforehand. So she was slightly bullied and had a really difficult time going to school during kindergarten. She's dealing with the cancer, and then she really doesn't have any friends. And so she goes into remission and then is re-diagnosed. And in second grade, all she wanted to do was play soccer. So our first rally was Aiden, our oldest son, flying in from Montana, going to her soccer team before she got there on a Tuesday, sitting down with them. He's 6'3", 250. So he's sitting down with a bunch of 7 and 8-year-olds, crisscross applesauce on a soccer field, explaining what cancer is. And of course, we've gone through the whole process of a therapist reviewing our protocols. And he sat down and he said, you can't get cancer by touching the person. It's not like a cold, which didn't even dawn on us that they were thinking that. And then he talked about what kind of support they could provide for her, and that she was coming in 2 days to practice for her first time. And so in the meantime, Aiden and Kendall, the patient, bonded. And on Thursday, we went into our first official rally. The soccer coaches were there. Aiden was there and brought Kendall. And Kendall wanted to sit on Aiden's shoulders as he's walking down to all the girls. And all the girls had made cards. Some had made bracelets. They all sat down and just embraced her and asked her all the questions like, do you feel sick? Is there anything we can do for you? I have an extra water bottle. All the sweet things that kindness really is. And Kendall was so sweet during that time. They all sat down, and Aiden took her off of his shoulders and sat her next to him, and her comfort zone was sitting on him. So she sat, but she climbed back on his shoulders during this little first meeting. It was so sweet. And sadly, we lost Kendall last year. Last year from this past October. She just didn't beat it, but she'll always be remembered as our first rally, and Aiden did a tremendous job with that.
I love that your kids are involved. That's the way that all these things continue, pass it along generation to generation. We have just a couple of minutes left. All right, so this stuff is expensive. So how are you getting the funds that you can, lift up these other people?
Well, Kandace, as you can see my hat, 1985, 40 years ago, October 27th this year was our 40th anniversary of the World Series. So Kandace came up with the idea of a 1985 campaign, which means for $19.85, you can donate that per month. As the year goes through, a year of donating 1985, which seems pretty simple for most families to be able to do, it will equivalent to 1 month's rent for somebody, or not somebody's rent, for their electricity bills to stay on. So to kind of just put things in perspective of what we're doing. But really, if you can go to SabesWings, join the 1985 campaign, that would be amazing. SabesWings.org, that's where we're located. You can see the events that are coming up. We have a big gala in Paso Robles in October that just passed each year. We have different things going on throughout the year in different parts of the country. We have dinners that pop up here and there in different parts of the country. Tom Stock has been really great with us. Look forward to going out and seeing them do some stuff and raising some money for cancer organizations out and about. They do a great job. So there's ways to kind of go and help us by just being a part of what we're doing, and then also getting the word out of what we're doing. And if there's somebody out there that needs help, going to our website. But really, we need that residual income, because for the galas that we do or the dinners that we do, it's just it helps, but it's that putting that gum inside the boat.
In the boat.
Yeah. So anyway, donations, joining the 1985 campaign, all of those are amazing. That really are helpful for what we're doing and giving back.
Thanks to both of you for sharing this very personal story and for what you're doing to lift people up. We appreciate it.
Thanks for spreading the word, Ruth.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and thank you for becoming an elf.
I'm happy to do it.
Awesome.
This Casey Cares segment was brought to you by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, www.kaufman.org. And don't forget, you can spread the love. You can find us at Facebook and Twitter at Casey Cares Radio and Instagram at Casey Cares Online. And don't forget, Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock in the morning, ESPN 1510 AM and 94.5 FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Casey Cares.